What's up, everybody? This is episode 8 of the Ramblur series, where we're gonna work on the transmission crossmember, the rear subframe and bag mounts, and the rear crossmember. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's Ben from Retroformance. Now, if you guys could go and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your buddies, that'd be awesome, and it'll keep us making more content like this. Now let's dive into the Rambler. We're starting off with the transmission crossmember. Now, this is going to need to be removable, as well as have a provision for the exhaust. To eliminate the need for nuts and washers on this, we're gonna weld a threaded block inside the square tubing to act as the nuts and just stay in place when we go to put this crossmember in. Once we get it up in the car and clamp it in place, then we can tack the flanges that will go on the frame rails to hold this thing in place. Next is trying to make that provision for the exhaust. Now, we're trying to run a 4-inch exhaust all the way back, and the car is just too low to go under the crossmember, and the floor is too close to go over, so we actually have to go through it. Marking where it needs to go, we turn it over to Matt to CNC actually the arc we need to put that structural tubing through it so that it just matches up really nice when we go to weld it. A little gusseting on the bottom side is the cherry on top on this thing. And then there's always just a banger comment from Josh just to let us know we did a job well done.
That is such a diesel trade mount and crossmember.
Yes, it is.
As we move to the back of the car, we need to put a subframe around the original sheet metal so that it kind of ties into our beefed up frame rails from the front, so that at least the front of the car and the rear of the car are connected, and it'll have a nice spot for the pannered rod. To do this, we had the crazy idea of trying to bend 1x2 tubing and follow the contour of the original box sheet metal. So we had to fab up a custom set of dies so that they could go in our hydraulic press and that we could actually bend those at the arcs we needed.
Good. I think we dropped this bend down a little, maybe.
If you want to try to tie it in over there, yep.
We were so happy with how this came out first shot that we continued on the other side, and then we made a cross piece to go between both sides and tie it all together. I was wrapping up the rear subframe, my dad was in here making the bag mounts to go right in the stock spring locations. Next up on the docket was that rear cross member. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of the footage of this, but the concept's there in these photos. We used our plasma cutter to cut the contour we needed for the drive shaft loop and then attach it to the original cross member mounting locations. With these two profiles cut, we then took pieces of stock and bent and shaped them to go on the top and the bottom, creating the box three-dimensional shape that we needed. This had to be done little by little, stretching and tacking as we went, but the results we think were well worth it. Last step was to weld that thing in place. And that's it for this episode of the Rambler. Next time we're gonna tackle the rear end disc brake setup and getting those to fit, the transmission tunnel. I mean, what else? We got everything to do on the car still. So follow along to the channel. Make sure you turn on post notifications. Follow us on Instagram for more daily updates, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.